you had about 4.6 billion years of life, carrying countless lives on Earth. Your life would be a grand and turbulent picture. When you first awoke, you saw a chaotic carnival. In your hundreds of millions of years, you rampaged, screaming and crying. You were one of the survivors of this catastrophe. That evil smile in the middle was the sun. Back then, it was just a newborn baby. Congrats, you were Earth 4.5 billion years ago, scarred all over, just starting to shape yourself. Your hard journey began at that moment. For the next 60 million years, fate was unkind to you. Rock fragments rained down on you again and again, sometimes mixed with icy chunks. These attacks weren't only from the sun, but more from other giant planets in the solar, searching desperately for a home. One day, a rock struck you like a fatal blow, but you stubbornly survived, becoming a rocky planet in the solar system, with Mercury and Venus and Mars as companions. After countless days of being hit in the face, you finally adapted to this seemingly calm life. But fate loved surprises. An asteroid named Theia rushed toward you at lightning speed. It wanted to explore your life, but you escaped death while it vanished into dust. But this disaster turned you into a hot molten lava ball, rolling in space. Planet debris floated around you. The violent impact shattered your insides, melting your surface. Chaos like oil mixed with water. You began reorganizing from the inside out. Heaviest materials sank to the center. Lightest floated to the surface. That earth-shaking collision left you tilted forever, which later caused the seasons. At the same time, iron and nickel fought inside you, eventually forming a solid core. This core made you different from other planets and gave you a special ability, a magnetic field. Theia sacrificed itself, making you a superhero. Though technically, it was more like an attempted murder. From then you set a great goal, to stand firm in the solar system and be the best planet. To achieve that, you had to face harsher trials. You tried breathing and preparing for the coming storm. Though this time wasn't as hard as your birth. You still had no good days. Your atmosphere was full of waste gases, mainly carbon dioxide, water vapor, and nitrogen. As for hydrogen, these light gases were gifts from the sun. It sometimes blew away your hard-earned gases, leaving you angry and helpless. Meanwhile, orbiting rock fragments kept merging, eventually forming your partner, the moon, which was then a hot ball of magma, as hot as you were at birth. Finally, life seemed on track, but not for long. You were surrounded by planets, colliding with each other, entering the late heavy bombardment. As a fragile little rock ball, you were full of craters, without a smooth spot, like a battered veteran. But don't worry, the wounds would heal. For the next 100 million years, you endured more impacts, your scars constantly reshaped. Finally, the heavy bombardment ended. You became stronger. By then, the moon had cooled, but still lacked personality, still orbiting you in place. Never once turned his face, maybe afraid his ugly look would scare you. Meanwhile, your crust began to form, shaping your true appearance, thus creating the first oceans. All of this thanks to your wisdom and the comet's help. You sparked the first signs of life. You felt free and at ease and began to focus on standing out in the solar system, becoming truly unique. After nearly 1 billion years of trials, you learned from failures. Volcanic eruptions shaped the land and built your first magnetic field, shielding you from the sun stripping your air. Time flew by. 2 billion years later, your core split into solid and liquid metal layers, greatly strengthened your magnetic shield. This invisible guard kept life safe and painted beautiful auroras at the poles. But to be the best planet in the solar system, you still had work to do. Luckily, you sat in the habitable zone, keeping all your water liquid, not frozen solid like Pluto, turning into icy rock. Remember those ancient microbes living peacefully? They evolved into acid bacteria inventing photosynthesis, pumping oxygen into the air. Sadly, oxygen was poison back then for most life, wiping out many species. 99% of life gone in an instant. The moon smugly watched from the side. But that was just the beginning. Oxygen buildup reacted with the atmosphere, destroying your warm climate. You fell into a long, harsh snowball Earth, almost entirely frozen, like a giant ice cube. Welcome to your first global ice age. For the next 300 million years, you endured this icy trial. At last, the ice began to melt. You entered an exciting, new era. The crust fractured, forming giant plates, like huge puzzle pieces, sliding and colliding on you, sometimes diving deep into the sea. It's like you were playing a super complex role-playing game, each plate taking on a different persona. Some fiery hot, some cold as ice, others wild with volcanic veins. Future supercontinents forming one by one, making you wonder who you really were when you looked in the mirror, never knowing which face you'd see next. This identity crisis wasn't easy to handle, but good times didn't last. A wave of turmoil followed. Mountains roared up, volcanoes spewed, earthquakes shook nonstop, as if you had geological flu. Always feverish and coughing. Don't underestimate the pain. It drove life's evolution forward. Volcano gases balanced the atmosphere. Crust movement created stable climates, letting ecosystems steadily grow. In short, your pain became life's foundation. At that moment, the nearly extinct ancient bacteria made a stubborn comeback, more cunning and complex than ever. They spread quickly, covering every inch of you. For the next 1.5 billion years, life rose and fell like a roller coaster. You froze solid, then melted again. You went through 3 cycles of warming and cooling. During this time, you formed the supercontinent Pannotia. Sadly, it didn't bring the peace you imagined. Instead, it caused more chaos. You realized this couldn't go on. It was time to act. Time to change things. But you had to hurry. Don't let those reckless bacteria wear you down first. Over time, tiny bacteria evolved into strange-shaped, multicellular life. They grew hard shells, keen eyes, and nimble legs. The Cambrian explosion was like a wild party for life. In a short time, your surface swarmed with beetles, tentacles, and countless eyes. You had a permanent flu and a total infection. Life was utter chaos. By now, you were 4 billion years old. After billions of years of storms, you'd had enough. You wanted to be the best planet in the solar system. This state wouldn't do. So you triggered mass extinction mode. First, the Ordovician extinction. 60% of ocean life vanished. A local ice age helped you recover. Then came the harsh Devonian extinction. 70% of species perished, partly due to trees disrupting the atmosphere. Trees suck CO, cooling you down. Just when life seemed doomed, a new supercontinent, Pangaea, appeared. Life revived. At this key moment, you unleashed the Permian extinction, known as the Great Dying. It lasted millions of years. 83% of life vanished. Fish and volcanoes witnessed the brutal struggle. Then came the Triassic. Volcanoes erupted, warming the planet, acidifying oceans, and nearly clearing the state. Sadly, dinosaurs and pseudo survived and became the stars of a new era. Finally, the Cretaceous You asked Jupiter for help. He obliged, sending a giant. It struck you hard. You ignited instantly. The sky darkened. Oceans turned acidic, and nearly all passengers died. If that didn't clear things out, you didn't know what would. The good news, times changed. Dinosaurs vanished. Mammals rose. They were famous, less annoying than bacteria, and less troublesome than dinosaurs. Maybe this was the turning point. You stopped chasing the best planet title, feeling exhausted, and chose a 65, finally enjoying peace. You pondered the future, when humans rose in Africa and spread fast. They built cities, invented microwaves, and changed your pace of life. Meanwhile, they dug into your burning the fossils of past life, sparking the Industrial Revolution. Your atmosphere was under attack, as if suffocating from asthma. They swarmed like locusts, landing on other planets, piercing your shield, greenhouse gases from burning, made you feverish. Your temperature spiked. Some even blamed you for looking like Venus. This once glorious planet is now a scorching hell. This could be your future preview. Glaciers melt, climate chaos, animals vanish. You finally realize life is its own executioner. At least early bacteria were calm, not so reckless. The good news is they'll leave the stage. Maybe at life's final moment, they'll find the key to fix it. Sometimes you wonder, no matter how long they live, are you bound to them? Before they finally leave you, they'll drain all your resources, build a vast empire in the solar system. Once you admired them, now only frustration remains. You feel life's meaning fading. Everything you've been through seems pointless. You quietly exist until 1 billion years later. As the sun grows brighter, you turn reddish-brown, an orange hot potato, scorching to breathe. In 5.5 billion years, the sun becomes a red giant, like a massive flamethrower, boiling your last oceans, burning into your air, your surface, baked into glassy rock. You feel nothing. When the sun shrinks to a white dwarf, you'll be a frozen rock forever. No life, no grandeur, only cold and sorrow. This is your legend. You're not just a planet, but a being with stories, emotions, and unyielding will.